Welcome to the video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Waterline episode. They released a lot of interesting information, or so I've been told. I haven't actually watched the video yet. I wanted to make a reaction video to it. I know that can be kind of lame, but I want to try this style of video out, and I thought this would be a decent way to do it. So let's get right into it and see what it's got.
As the first stage of these changes in update 0.10.4, we will remove Deadeye skill in the way it works right now and replace it with the Swift and Silent skill. And on top of that, we have some minor changes to other skills. Now we know that if you have a battleship trained with the Deadeye skill, you will be significantly impacted by this. So we will automatically reset your battleship tab of that commander with that update for free.
That's a good change. Removing Deadeye, I think is probably a good change. A lot of people complained about it. Personally, I don't like that they're nerfing battleships. I do think the class is relatively weak. But that they're refunding and resetting everybody's commander that has Deadeye is pretty cool, because basically everybody was running Deadeye, in my mind. So, yeah, nice that you don't have to spend 10,000 doubloons to reset all your commanders because you have no more commander experience because you were trying to get all your other commanders up to 21 points. So, good change. I would love to see something other than Swift and Silence. I've talked about Swift and Silence being pretty useless on a battleship. It doesn't help your survivability. It helps you slightly get into better positions. But even then, it would be far more useful to have an extra heal, concealment, or fire prevention. I think those three are just way more valuable as 4-point skills, because battleships don't have an issue with speed or positioning in my mind. They have an issue with survivability. So I would have loved to see some sort of survivability skill, like when an enemy ship is within your secondary range, reduce damage control cooldown by 50%. So you get 40-second cooldown on damage con. Something like that, if you're up close and brawling. But it seems they want to leave battleships unable to tank. So that's unfortunate.
Next stage is going to be a set of balance changes in autumn. We're going to focus on skills that may be too strong or too weak, and also especially skills that are unpopular. So skills that are currently not picked either are going to have a buff, or in some cases they will be changed. This will be accompanied with a free commander skill reset for all players, so you can take full advantage of the changes and the new system.
Hopefully, that just automatically happens, and it's not just a go to this weird part of the website and then click reset all your commanders, and then people who weren't playing the game at the time or just didn't know about it, hopefully they don't miss it. So I would really like it if they would just flip the switch and do it for everyone right away as soon as the supposed update comes in August like that. So
Submarines. Internally, we've actually been working on submarines since 2017. You'll remember that in 2018 you could play submarines in a special Halloween game mode. In 2019, the two of us were live on stage in Cologne, Germany, announcing submarines coming to World of Warships. Hopefully, some of you were there. Then in update 0.9.4, we had a special game mode where you guys could play submarines. And now we're ready to talk about what the future holds for submarines in World of Warships.
A lot of stuff has changed about Submarines.
before we get into this, I really don't like that they're adding subs. Not because they couldn't be fun, because it's possible that they're fun. I just don't trust Wargaming's ability to balance a whole nother class when there's already 4 classes that probably aren't the most balanced. One of those in particular is what I'm talking about. But they're not the best at class-to-class balance or defining roles, making sure ships are good in certain scenarios, not so good in other scenarios. So adding a 5th class into a 4-class balance that's not really that balanced is interesting. I really hope they can figure it out, but I don't have very much hope.
You can expect to be able to play submarines on a special public test server this summer. We really strongly encourage and invite you to come and participate in this set of tests so that we can gather your feedback and make sure that the introduction to World of Warships is going to go smoothly.
You should go test it. You should. But your feedback's not going to matter. What they're actually looking for is enough data to actually determine if the ships are going to be balanced or not based on what their spreadsheet says. They're not particularly concerned about your feedback. You heard them. They said they've been working on submarines since 2017. That's a lot of time and money to invest in a class. They're not going to listen to feedback that says, yeah, we don't want this in the game. It ruins the game. Please stop ruining your game. Just leave it as an awesome naval warfare battleship versus cruiser versus destroyer game, right? They're not going to listen to that. They've already invested too much time and money. So we're getting subs, guaranteed. Just like we got CVs and the rework, guaranteed. And expect not the ships to be balanced by actual game balance. I would expect the submarines, much like aircraft carriers, to have a minimum threshold of number of people playing. So with aircraft carriers, I believe that's around 15 to 16%. They need at least that many people playing aircraft carriers from time to time. So they're never going to be balanced based upon actually being reasonable to fight against. They're balanced based on class popularity. So I would expect subs to also be balanced based on class popularity, which is scary, which is really scary.
The second step of the introduction of submarines will then be happening on the live server, where we will be testing submarines in ranked battles. Now, the reason why we decided to go for ranked battles instead of a special mode is that in special modes there is not a really big long-term motivation for players to stick around, while this will be the case in ranked battles without influencing your experience in random battles.
Ranked is a competitive game mode, guys. It is a competitive game mode. That is why we will test new things in that game mode. I mean, I guess that's fine, because I don't really care about ranked, but for anybody who actually really likes ranked and cares about it a lot, yeah, I'm sorry, but at least one season is going to be ruined by submarine test. So that's unfortunate, but at least they're doing the public test before. I saw a lot of people freaking out about subs being tested in ranked, and to me it sounded like the initial testing was going to be done in ranked, and that's not true. So hopefully they'll be in a somewhat balanced state so that we can actually play ranked battles without suffering too much.
Battles.
Our team is currently hard at work at preparing the underwater world for the introduction of submarines. Most maps are...
This is cool. I like this. I think it's super cool how Wargaming is designing all these maps with underwater worlds, and as not always, but oftentimes the art team does a pretty solid job. At least now, since they've updated the way the guns look and the shell splashes look and fires look, it does look more like a game from 2020. It hasn't always looked like a very good game, but they've done a pretty good job recently. So this will probably look pretty cool, even if it probably won't be balanced.
Introduction of submarines. Most maps are actually almost ready, already have an underwater relief and have underwater islands. But we're also going to be adding vegetation, not just to make it more beautiful, but also to make it easier for you to navigate and avoid obstacles underwater. Another thing that we of course have to add for submarines to be feature complete is a skill tree. Not just a skill tree for submarines, but we're also going to be adding anti-submarine skills to other classes.
I hope those anti-submarine skills are based on the skill of the player and aren't just RNG mechanics that the submarine can very easily dodge, like flak bursts are for carriers. I really hope it's a skill-based player versus player interaction, not just random RNG decides if you take damage or not.
This will of course be accompanied with a free captain skill reset to make sure that you can prepare to take on the underwater threat.
Speaking of counterplay to submarines, we made changes to its mechanics. The battery lifetime is now actually limited in duration during battle, depending on the tier, nation, or characteristics of the submarines, and is currently at a value of roughly 5 to 11 minutes, which will make...
That's good. So no more submarines just sitting at the bottom of the ocean, unable to be hit. And then when depth charges finally do come, you can do that bobbing up and down between, what was it, 6 meters and 5.9 meters? You could bob up and down and dodge. You'd be immune from surface ship fire at 6 meters, and you'd be immune from depth charges at 5.7 meters. So you would just bob up and down depending on which was shooting at you. Hopefully this means that subs are actually able to be hit on the surface, and they won't just be able to play that immunity game the whole game.
And once a submarine is actually submerging, it won't just be gone, by the snap of a finger. No, that process will be done in a gradual and linear fashion, slowly but steadily decreasing in its detectability.
That's good. I like that the detection isn't just binary. The problem is lock-on is often binary. So when a ship goes undetected, lock-on is instantly removed, even though there's a 1 to 2 second animation of the ship disappearing. And that is very frustrating for me, because if the ship is behind an island, your lock-on is what is allowing your shells to arc over that island. And as they're going undetected, that 1 to 2 second animation makes me think, oh, I can still shoot at this ship, instinctually. I don't know. It used to be the lock-on lasted for 2 seconds after they went dark. So I was used to that for so long from playing the game back in the day. And now, with lock-on being removed right away, you shoot, and, well, the guns get locked onto the island, and the shells don't go over. So it's very frustrating when your lock-on is instantly removed, even though you can still see the ship. It's doing that fade-out animation. So I really hope that that's not the case here. It'd be really nice if lock-on stayed when you could actually still see the ship on your screen.
We will be adding depth charges to almost all destroyers, apart from a few historical premiums which historically didn't have them. We are also going to be giving cruisers and battleships anti-submarine warfare planes. You'll be able to call a depth charge attack or strike on a certain area. The planes will come in, drop their depth charges, and hopefully sink that pesky.
That sounds like RNG mechanics to me. Oh, man. Now, not only is it RNG if the carrier planes get shot down or not, it's RNG if you actually do any damage to this submarine. Feels bad, man.
I think in conclusion, we just want to say that we really intend for submarines to be a very special class with unique gameplay and a lot of depth to its mechanics.
I'm not convinced. I'm sorry. I'm not convinced. I don't think it's going to be that engaging. There's not going to be that much counterplay. In my mind, it's going to be the submarine holds basically all the power, and you're probably just going to be at the mercy of if the submarine player plays well or not. Much like aircraft carriers are right now. Which is sad, but hey, I'll enjoy the game while it lasts before subs get added.
A new special mode is coming to the server this summer, and this time we're going to be talking about super battleships. We love to try new mechanics and things in special modes, as we did with, for example, the Big Hunt mode, asymmetrical battle.
Wait, so they're testing super battleships in a special mode, but adding a whole new class to the entire game? No, we can do that in ranked, not in a special mode. I don't mean to get like hyper sarcastic and, I don't know, testy about it, but that seems a little odd, doesn't it? That super battleships, whatever these are, we'll find out, are being tested in a special game mode, and we like to test upcoming game features and ships or whatever in special game modes, but subs won't be. Oh boy. Oh boy.
And so on. And this summer, we will be playing out a what-if scenario for World War II.
Yes, we're going to be talking about what if aircraft carriers hadn't dominated the skies and the seas at the end of World War II? What if nations had kept building big artillery battleships after projects such as the Yamato?
We have 2 super battleships coming up for you. The first one is the Japanese ship Satsuma. kind of like the evolution of the Yamato, featuring 4 twin guns with 510mm guns. And then, I might be slightly biased here, but I think this is going to be very interesting to you. We will have a German super battleship. It is a further development of the H-42 project, something that a lot of you wanted to already see in the game. And it's going to be featuring 4 twin guns of 483mm guns. And it will feature something new for German battleships as well, with a universal secondary armament of dual-purpose 127mm guns. So I hope you're going to be as excited as I am about this topic. And now, of course, the question is, Mr. Conway, how can you guys get your hands on this?
This sounds cool. The problem is, do they actually mean a game mode where CVs don't dominate the game? The hypothetical here is, of course, that nations didn't invest in aircraft carriers and aircraft carriers taking over naval warfare. Are they going to keep CVs out of this game mode and allow us to actually play a hypothetical reality where battleships stayed as the king of the sea or whatever? I doubt that, especially given that they just talked about German ships getting the dual purpose 127mm guns, meaning both for secondaries and AA. So I feel like carriers are going to be in this, and judging on the name Super Battleship, they're probably going to be gigantic and very easy to hit. So I don't expect these to be that amazing of ships, I think.
The way this is going to work is that you'll be able to play the super battleships in a special mode. However, you won't be able to just take out the super battleships. You'll have to play tier 9 and 10 ships and earn a new temporary resource called intelligence. Using a certain amount of intelligence, you'll be able to unlock one of the 2 super battleships for 1 battle at a time, go out, have a great time, sink everyone, and then, go back and do it again. Super battleships are also going to be featuring a brand new mechanic that you may have already seen teased on the dev blog. We're preliminarily calling it adjustment firing mechanics. What this means and what this will look like is that you will be rewarded for good positioning and good aim throughout the game. Every time you land a shell within a certain radius of the enemy ship that you were aiming at, you get a point towards a counter. Once the counter fills up, you will be getting a temporary buff to the characteristics of your battleship. After the mode is over, we will have a long think about what to do with super battleships and how they might work in World of Warships in the future.
That's cool. I like that they're doing a special game mode for it. I like that they're incentivizing people to actually play that special game mode in order to earn the super battleships, because you probably would find that people don't want to play that special game mode if they're just playing tier 9s and 10s to be the fodder of these super battleships, if they're any good. So to earn the super battleships, I'm having to actually play the mode and earn the resource. That's a cool thing. Onto the sustained aim being rewarded, hitting targets being rewarded. It sounds like, at least from the dev blog that I looked at just briefly before this, it seems like they're trying to fill up a bar with, I don't know, whatever currency they're using, tokens or reward for good aim, good positioning. You're going to get a faster reload, which is odd to me. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It doesn't make as much sense to me that you would get a buffed reload for a short duration for staying aimed on the same target, for example. It makes more sense that you would get better dispersion over time the more you shot at a certain target. That's how I would like to see it, at least for battleships. Maybe for cruisers, a faster reload the more you shoot at one target. You know, but battleships rely on accuracy, right? And accuracy is really not good in this game these days. So it would be cool if instead of giving it a faster reload, they would give you better dispersion. It'd be kind of historical too. I'm not a history guy, but it seems like the longer you'd shoot at the same target, the better your aim would be. That just kind of makes sense to me.
Let's talk about attack aircraft. We know that the interaction with attack aircraft and aircraft carriers as a destroyer can be quite frustrating, and this is something that we want to change. Our change is going to have 2 components. Firstly, we're going to be increasing the delay between a carrier initiating his attack and the rockets being fired. as well as give a visual indicator as to where those rockets are going to land. Functionally, this is going to look the following way. When the attack is initiated, the attack planes are going to detach from their wing and they're going to open up fire with their machine guns, which, at least for now, will not be dealing any damage to ships. This was also done historically to let pilots aim their rockets, like according to their tracer fire. From a destroyer perspective, this means that you'll be able to see where the rockets are going to land and take evasive action.
Good change. That looks awesome. I think giving the player the ability to actually dodge is a good thing. Considering that's been the advice all along, is just dodge, right? I don't like that they say or seem to isolate destroyers as the only ones suffering at the hands of carriers, because that's obviously not true. Cruisers suffer, battleships, every class suffers when there's a carrier in the game. And for a lot of the larger ships, like cruisers and battleships, there really is no ability to dodge. The planes are several times faster, several times more maneuverable. Your rudder shift, in the time it takes for your rudder to go from one side to the other, the planes can be all the way around your ship. So saying just dodge doesn't make a lot of sense. This will be a great change for destroyers, though. I think this is cool. Step in the right direction, for sure. But I am worried that they're just going to revert it back once they realize that aircraft carriers' population starts to dip, right? Like that 15% threshold we were talking about earlier. You gotta be careful. If that dips close to that level, they're gonna buff carriers again and possibly remove this. So, good change, step in the right direction, but I don't think it's gonna last.
Of course, you would also like to know what's the next tech tree coming to World of Warships after the German destroyers that are currently in early access. And we have good news for you. It's not just a new tech tree, no, it's also a new nation coming to the game, the Netherlands. As first branch, we will release the Dutch cruisers. And in case you missed the initial announcement, we'll cover briefly what makes them special. In terms of gameplay, they're rather close to mid-range brawlers, and they feature a rather low-range.
Okay, we've seen Dutch cruisers before. They look cool. The artillery plane mechanic seems really odd to me and not particularly fun to fight against. I don't think we need more carrier planes or more airplanes dealing damage in this game. Seems like that's all they're going to be talking about here at the end. So, yeah. So dropping bombs like this is the Dutch cruiser's ability, right? So I'm not... I hope it's balanced. That's all. I hope it's balanced, dude. I'm nervous about these changes, man. I wish they could just like leave the game alone a little bit and then actually balance it to be a fun experience for people. The CV change seemed good to me. Those super battleships look like they could be fun. And well, the biggest issue with super battleships here, let me show you, okay? A battleship is tanky. Right? We all know this. It's got a lot of armor. You angle this armor, you're probably going to bounce, shatter a lot of stuff. The problem is there's this gigantic weak spot on top of your ship, right? And every battleship has this, some more than others. Let's take a look at one of the biggest ones in the game, Kurfürst. And this is something that at any angle, at any range, can take massive damage. Just last night I was playing ranked and I was fighting a Kurfürst, and he was at 15 kilometers, angled like this, and I hit him here with my Ohio, and I dealt 20,000 damage. That doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem like fun to me. So if you're risking that much at 15 kilometers, right, at that angle, imagine what happens when you close the distance, right? So battleships aren't very tanky. So super battleships, being potentially 30% bigger than this is a giant ship already, means that this is going to be 30% bigger. I don't think that's going to make battleships better. I mean, I'm curious to see it, but the main problem I see right now is everybody just shoots your superstructure and your battleship just melts very quickly. The other thing to worry about is a ship that's bigger than this. Imagine how easy it is to torpedo this or strike it with an aircraft carrier. Right? Imagine you're dive bombing this. Well, Kurfürst already, your reticle for a dive bomber already doesn't extend beyond the edges of the Kurfürst. So a ship that's even bigger is going to be even easier to kill. So worried about that for sure. And submarines, of course, they're just not going to be balanced, dude. I really don't. I have no faith in Wargaming to balance it. I will be pleasantly surprised if they do. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Sad days, but hopefully they do a good job. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of this kind of reaction-based content. If you want to watch the full video of Waterline, I'll link it below. You've probably seen it already on the Wargaming channel. These are just kind of my thoughts on it. Yeah. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day.